Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here. Anxious to get started with practice. I think our kids are hungry and anxious to get back out there, and we've had really 6 great weeks of off season leading up to this. They've worked really hard. I think Coach Gunda's done a good job with them in gaining some strength, and we still have a long way to go in that area. Approaching the season, but we got a good foundation under us. I like our format being able to go this early. We didn't get to do this last year because of the transformation with Coach Thompson coming in and everything, but we'll actually get 9 days of practice in before spring break, and then go on spring break, and then come back and have 2 weeks with 3 in each week, so 6 more after. Which I like because several reasons. Number one, about the time the kids get a little bored with it, and there is not a game in the spring, so they can get that way a little bit. We take a break and we go on spring break. If you get anybody injured, ankle or tweaks and things, you got a chance to get them back for the second half, which is good. They at least get some days of spring ball. And then the third thing is we're done by April 5th, and so if we do have any kind of serious injury, we've got a little extra time to take care of it, rehab it, and a better opportunity maybe to get them back for August with everything. We have a pretty good nucleus on the offensive side of the ball coming back, and is, I think, a nice feeling with where we are with the offensive line and having a quarterback returning that's got 2 years of experience under his belt, having Rob Lowe back, most of our receivers back. We had a pretty solid offensive team last year. I expect us to have one this year. We took care of the football. We were balanced run to pass. We threw the 3rd most passes of anybody in our league behind New Mexico State and Idaho. I hope that we take off where we finished and build. I'll be disappointed if we can't go pretty rapidly with our installation, because last year was really the spring of changes with the up-tempo and with Coach Thompson, and this year is really more one of the status quo and just some tweaks and things like that. The changes that we made were very good. Defensively, lost a couple key guys in Craig and David Mayo, obviously, and maybe even Mike Odiari too. You put in there with the number of sacks that he had, but I think we've got a chance to have a better defense. I'm excited about the unit. We were an inexperienced group that Coach Thompson inherited last year, and guys like David Mims and Damani Alexi and Stephon Johnson and Stephen Smith and Rashad Dillon and DeAndre Elboyd and Rusman and all those guys got a lot of valuable experience last year. So I think collectively as a defense, we may have a chance to be as good or better because of that. Last year we had a new defense, and we, other than a few key spots, we were a little bit inexperienced, and it showed at times. I thought Coach Thompson did a marvelous job and the defensive coaches, of kind of keeping our defensive statistics somewhat close to what they were in 2013 when we had a more experienced defensive unit. And so I really think now, with year 2 of his defense, everybody knows it, knows what to expect. I think that has a chance to be a big help for us. Kicking game-wise, obviously we lost a great kicker, kickoff guy and punter in Will Johnson. He went to the NFL Combine, so we had 2 players, him and Craig, that were invited to the Combine, so that was kind of a first for us. And losing Will is something we'll have to deal with. The spring is a little bit about finding out who our kicker punter is going to be, and he may not be here right now. We signed Lumi Kaba, from Tyler, who's got a fantastic leg, but he won't be here until summer, and so we may not have the answer to that question until, I know we won't until he shows up. But we can determine who our deep snapper is going to be. We can determine who our returners are going to be. You know, we've had great return guys, especially a punt with Andy and then Craig last year. And if we had to start today, I think it'd be B-Mac. You know, but he hasn't been back there very much, so we'll see who emerges out of all that and everything. But today's day one. We went at 6:15 this morning for 40 minutes, and then we'll go this afternoon. And so we just got fundamental work out of the way this morning. We're doing that on fundamental days, and this afternoon won't be as much in regard to fundamentals. April 5th is the spring game, and time is to be determined at this point in time. So what do you guys want to know?
Coach, it seems like continuity is at an all-time high here. You've got the players you recruited, the conference is in line, you got a lot of guys coming back on both sides of the ball. In that regard, does it feel like it's time to kind of take off? Like you said, the installation should be kind of easier now. Yeah,
I hope so. You know, we lost one coach. Jason Washington left and Ashley Ambrose come in, and that's really been a pretty seamless transition in that regard, and that was good. And like I mentioned about offensive and defensive changes are minimal. So it is really we're in the same conference again. All of that is good positive stuff for us, and having a chance to hopefully take another step and move up a level in this conference.
If there's one specific thing that you're looking at to improve on, what's that?
Wow, Steve, I don't know if you can pinpoint one thing. I would probably have to sound evasive and say overall improvement in every area. Offensively, each position has got some goals to accomplish. I mean, for instance, Tyler, his footwork in the pocket, trusting his protection, those kinds of things. We turned the ball over 11 times on offense. We were second in the nation in turnovers. But still, we'd like to get that down into single digits. The balance of run and pass was really good there for the year, but we'd still like to grow that some. I think really defensively right now, the chance to take another step would be huge because of John being here for a second year and the scheme being in place. The coaches, last year our defensive staff had about a week before we started practice with John, so they were learning on the run in spring practice and in fall camp, with Coach T teaching them, let alone the players. So the learning curve is just totally different, and so taking another step there would be really huge. Trying to get our yardage totals down. We weren't very good in pass defense, and not as good as we want to be. We'd like to get our rushing yardage down. More takeaways on defense. We had 18 for the year. We touched the ball 49 times last year, which is not enough. I've studied that statistic for years, and really, you normally in a 12-game season you should touch the ball 55 times or more, and we touched it 49, which tells you we got to be more physical in our as a defense. We've got to get the ball out more, and when we do get it out, get it. Defensive back coaches are great at getting excited about when a guy knocks the ball down. We need to get excited about when he catches it. Just little things like that, I think, are really key and pivotal for us and all that. So.
Other than kicker, where are some of the roster battles going to be this spring?
Where's what?
Other than kicker, where are some of the big roster battles going to be this spring?
I think D-line and linebacker. Linebacker's kind of wide open. Trey McGowan played a lot for us last year and really did a nice job. Steven Smith played some, but we brought in 4 guys at semester, and 2 of them are linebackers, Mitty and Teron Fitzgerald, and how they're going to fit into that mix at that position. We've got one corner that we know David Mims is going to occupy, but we've got a lot of competition for the other corner. Safety is really, we've got some guys that have played, but I think that's going to be a constant mix all spring of seeing who's going to play low, who's going to play high, how that's going to fit together because we play with three. So I think that'll be a good competitive situation. Offensive line, a little bit at guard, both guard positions, a little bit at center. You know, tight ends with Ryan Carden and Lawrence White back. Those guys played a lot last year, so the young guys are trying to find their way into that rotation a little bit, but we're fairly solid there. There's some question marks at receiver yet to see who can emerge. I think Damon Mercer and Bryce Gunner played as redshirt freshmen last year, and they want to step up a little higher and play more. So it'll be interesting to see how much they've improved. And you know, the other thing always exciting about spring is your redshirt freshmen. We had a number of them, and just who can we get ready to help us next year? Cannon Mackey's a center, and Schornborn at guard, Mizurek at tackle, Will Copa at tackle. You know, there's a lot of other guys in that redshirt freshman category that I think just seeing how they survive the spring and compete and what positions they can actually get a hold of. Of course, kicker and punter's wide open right now.
Coach, how many redshirts did you have last year?
I don't know off the top of my head. Do you used to
19 last year?
scholarship ones?
What about, you talk about the kicking games, you talk about kicking return game, Craig, you lose a lot in that aspect of it. What's, I know it's spring for that, but
Well, Craig was a punt returner, not a kickoff returner. Brandon Smith is back, who has been has had his moments as a kickoff returner. I think the return guys will work itself out because him, Jafus Gaines, C.J. Best, we've had guys that have done that. We got to block better. We didn't block very well. You know, we've got to find a way to get the front line and the guys up in front of those guys to do a better job. And we've had some, you know, and since I've been here, our kicking game has been pretty good, pretty solid, year in and year out. But we weren't very good at kickoff returns. I think we averaged about 18 yards a return last year. So much more so than the kickoff returner, the blockers got to step up and do a better job and get better fits and get us the ball with another first down or field position maybe that we didn't get last year. We left it in the end zone a lot of times last year. We just said if they kick it in there, we're going to leave it because we know we got it on the 25 because our blocking was not as good as it needed to be. So we've got a lot of room for improvement there. I think our return thing will still be good. Brandon's good. You know, he took two back for a touchdown in one game. So it's not that. It's we got to block for them better, and they know that too.
Last year, I know you were saying the goal was to be more physical against Arkansas State and go up. Is there a motto or a goal that you guys are kind of setting for this season?
I think the biggest thing, you know, we talk some about the season right now, and I mean, I think if our kids were here, they'd tell you they got a little chip on their shoulder. They didn't like the way they felt like they were looked at. You know, I tell them I don't either, but we did have some control over that. If we make one more play in the right place or two more in the right place, we're not in that situation maybe. So we just got to go prove to people and earn our way, and I think the kids, that's one thing. I was interested to see how they came back in January, where they came back feeling that way or if they came back feeling sorry for themselves. I haven't seen any pity about it. I've only seen determination about it. So that's good. That's the way I hoped it would be. And that's the way I feel, and I think the coaches feel. And okay, we got more to prove. We left some doubt, so we got to conquer that.
I know a lot of it, you know, they keep saying leave no doubt. You know, is that sort of the motto this year for the team?
Yeah. We left some last year. You know, I don't know what it takes in this league right now to get over that obstacle other than to be better. And so we just got to accept the responsibility for that and try to do that and take those steps to get there. And we're still maybe looked upon a little bit as the new kids on the block, and we'll okay, if that's the way it is, we'll earn our way, and that's the only thing that we can say to ourselves and think about it. Nobody gives you anything in this game, and we certainly didn't get anything given to us, so we'll keep working.
Coach, how much of a relief is it going into the spring knowing there's not a triple option team to prepare for the coming schedule?
It's good. It's good. Navy, having Navy 2 out of the last 4 years impacts you a lot in your preparation because you work on them some in the spring because of the uniqueness. You work on them, fortunately last year we played them the second or third ball game, so we had to spend time in August camp working on them, which detracts away from your preparation for the rest of the teams on your schedule. It's a shame to play one team that you have to devote a little more special attention to than the other 11 on your schedule, but that's what their offense demands, and gosh, we didn't defense it that well anyway. They got 35, so maybe we should have spent more, or maybe we should have done it better. But it's nice. I don't want to play Navies and those people anymore. I don't see. I think in the long run, it's just not good for our football team to have to go through what they have to go through in that preparation. You lose a guy like Mike Arakpo in that game to a brutal-looking injury. I didn't say it was illegal, but it was brutal. And, sad, really, to lose a guy like that in his senior year. So that's the rub of the green, in this game. You close ranks, you march on. We did that, and fortunately Trey McGowan and Stephen Smith, some guys responded for us. And heaven knows, I think David Mayo just made 5 more tackles a game too, so yeah, some days he had to.
I know September's a long way away, but the fact that the opener is what it is and where it is, does that have any bearing in spring practice or the off season where it's just that innate recognition?
Who do we play?
I don't know if you've heard.
Who is it?
Yeah. You may have seen him playing in January. I think they're on TV.
Yeah. That game is what it is. I think from a player standpoint in spring practice, we're not going to spend any time preparing for them, but I think from a player standpoint, knowing that's your opener, it better light a little motivational fire under them in preparation, because it's baptism by fire a little bit for them. And you don't get a week to get ready. You play right out of the box against one of the top 4 teams in the nation, so at their place. And I think from the player standpoint, they're excited about playing a team that caliber. From my standpoint, I'm about to throw up. But the rest of them are pretty fired up about it.
What do you hope to gain from opening the season on the road against a team like that?
Respect, I think, is the biggest thing. Respect, and we got to get better, no matter how the game goes. I've coached 40 years this year, and I've been a heavy favorite and got my butt beat, and I've been a heavy underdog and won. So you never discount the fact that anything can happen. I mean, nobody thought Appalachian State was going to beat Michigan a few years ago. So things happen. But I think we realize the difficulty of that game, but I think our players are excited about playing it. And if we do well, I think the respect that you can garner nationally is good. And certainly we need that right now after last year and what's happened the last 2 years to catch people's attention in those ways. I know the Illinois game caught a lot of people's attention last year. We didn't win the game, really thought we could have and should have in some ways. So I think people acknowledge that. I mean, as you go to your convention and talk to your friends and coaching and fans, a lot of people talk about that game. You know, I watched you play that day, man, you could have won, and things like that. So for us, being the newbie on the block in FBS football, that was a good respect day for us. Though you don't play for respect, you hope to get respect. You play to win. You know, we're not into moral victories, and we won't be that day either. But we do know we have a pretty good challenge in that game.
Coach, we saw on the national stage just how important depth of quarterback can be. Ohio State really comes to mind. Spring, and certainly everybody feels good about Tyler Jones as a starter, but establishing some really good reps with the guys behind him. How important is this time of year in that regard?
It's huge. You know, Connor White came in last year and did a nice job. I mean, he got a lot of experience in practice. He didn't get much in a game. Blair Peterson was not eligible last year. He transferred in from UTEP, and he's got talent. So we're interested, and throws the ball well. We're interested to see how he competes this year. And we do need to develop the backup position in case there's an injury. You know, we couldn't survive that a couple years ago, and so we've got to put ourselves in a position where we don't drop off when that happens. And Connor, really, for a true freshman last year, was probably as savvy and aware and intelligent as Tyler was the year before, or more. Now, he didn't get to go out in a game and show us that, and so you can't put a grade on his game savvy or anything, only on his practice savvy, and sometimes those carry over, and as you know, sometimes it takes more games to gather experience for it to carry over. But we are excited about those two guys. We're excited about LG Williams coming in from San Antonio, and I think this offense really suits him well, and boy, what a special young man he is, and Blake Peterson from Topeka too. We're excited about both of our freshmen coming in, and I think one of the fortunate things for LG, I think he'll come up and watch practice a lot of days because he just got to drive up the road about 30 minutes because he lives on the north side of San Antonio. So I think he'll be out there and hear what Coach Schultz is telling the quarterbacks and watch practice and see how it goes, and that'll only make it better for him when he comes in June and July and having a chance to compete. But this is, Tyler, you target the 5 or 6 things that Tyler Jones needs to get better at for spring practice. But spring is huge for guys like Connor White, and whether it's at quarterback or any other position, to see, how they've grown and how they can handle the fire a little bit more, and to be put in situations, and we need to try to, in the next 45 practices we get before the first game, to put him in as many situations as we can so that he can be ready.
Coach, we talked earlier in the season about how everything is crisp now when you work out. You blow a whistle, the guys know, and that's something that you got to be happy about, right? So you don't have to teach that anymore. The routine is there, right?
You're right. I jokingly say we're on automatic pilot right now. They know what's coming next. They know the expectations. That's all they know now. They've all been here. We've recruited every kid in this program now. They know how practice is going to go, and they know the expectations. They know the drills. They know today at the end of practice a team's going to be 20 minutes and two teams are going to be going, and they're going to get a lot of reps, and it's going to fatigue them pretty good. But it's just, that's what we do, and that's all they know, so that's what they get up and go do, which is so much different than years 1 and years 2 in so many regards. And any coach that goes through, I'm sure Coach Strong will feel that tremendously this year with his year 2 up the road, which year 2 is so much easier than year 1. So I'm just glad it's year 5 now. Gosh, is it 5? Huh? Quick.
Tyler Jones had
Tyler? Well, I think, you know, there's the things that we don't, you mentioned yardage and throwing and this and that's not what we talk about. What we see is your steps and your drops, your attacking the pitch key on the option, your trusting your protection better. He has a tendency to flush and always flush right. You know, pre-snap, one of the challenges of being in a no-huddle offense, and I think if I read these statistics right, we were the 13th fastest team in no-huddle in the nation. So we were pretty fast for a first-year team doing it. But there are some what we call fast tag things that he could see pre-snap better and get to that I just think it was year 2, and then the tempo, and he just didn't see him as well. So just overall growth and seeing things and understanding things, and he needs to step up more as a leader. He's been a good leader. This is kind of, in some ways, his football team, but he's been a quiet leader, a leader by example. Well, that's not going to go anymore. You're going to have to come out of your shell, and you're going to have to say things when they need to be said. You know, he is the E.F. Hutton of the team. He doesn't say a lot, but when he does, they listen, and he needs to do more of that now. And we've talked to him a lot about that. And he's, you know, the first year I asked him if he was going to speak in sentences to me. All I ever got was yes, sir, or no, sir. Last year he did start to speak in sentences from time to time. So this year his communication and all those things is a ton better, and I think his understanding and comfort and confidence is a ton better. So I really expect to see him. He took a huge leap last year. If you go back and remember his freshman year, which I painfully do sometimes. I mean, he did a nice job for a true freshman, but gosh, there were some days, you know, it's like, okay, we got a lot of work to do. He took a huge leap last year. I mean, huge. He can't take that big a leap this year. The capacity won't let him. That's how big the leap was last year. But he can take a good leap in a lot of areas that you may not even notice as media guys or fans watching him, but we see on film all the time, or we see his deficiencies and how he can help himself be a little bit better. And those are the things that he really needs to focus on this spring. And he's in tune with that. We've broken all his film down. Of course, he played almost every play, but you know, we've broken all the things down that he needs to work on and showed them to him on film and showed him, you know, one of the little things he has. This doesn't seem like a very big thing, but when he takes a drop, he tends to cross over and rim to his left. Okay, your protection is not designed for you to set up behind the guard. It's designed for you to set up behind the center. So you can move yourself into a sack if the tackle has a problem. Does this make sense what I'm telling you? So that's one of the things that we've spent time talking to him about this spring is you got to get back in the center of your protection to help yourself. And then he's got to learn to trust it more. Sometimes he's too quick to get on the move. And one of the good things about Tyler, he's good moving. Now, when he moves, he maintains vision and he sees a lot of things down the field. But he doesn't have to do it as much as he did it. And we just need to get him a little more confident in the guys are going to protect me.